So this whole thing, as y'all know, is about what's going on in our country right now. To just bring up a few names, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and just everybody else really. Even they got Christian Cooper, who was attacked in a park by that white lady, Amy Cooper, calling her dog, just stuff like that. So the first question is, what are y'all like perspectives on the rioting that's happening in across the country in different cities? And I'm gonna like choose who talk. So just raise your hand if you want to talk, and then I'll choose you next. But first, let's go ahead and get Scoop.
Can you repeat your question?
What's your take on the rioting that's happening?
Um, I mean, I feel like there's no other way that it can be done now because black people tried to protest in a peaceful, quiet way. You feel me? And like, say for instance, with the Colin Kaepernick situation, you feel me? I feel like he was blackballed and blackmailed because he's been trying to prove a point with that by the kneeling situation. And you feel me? And people didn't take notice to it, or the white people. And I feel like white people just feel like they have an advantage over us just because of their skin color. We already go through so much because we're black, and especially being a male, it's already hard. You feel me? Dealing with certain things like we come from the mud. You feel me? It's just other stuff. Black dudes already killing other black dudes. You feel me? And the white stuff just adding more to it with the racism.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like now it's really not no other way that it can be done because we done sat here and waited too long and protested quietly for too long. And now that it's being brought more to light, and you feel me, with these innocent people being killed, I just feel like it's really nothing that can be done with it now.
Yep, exactly. Thanks, Scoop. You can go ahead and mute yourself back. I think Demetri, you raised your hand, so go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Okay. I think the riding is okay, but like only to like a certain extent. Like riding can get your point across, like the whole no justice, no peace, the signs, the marches, that's all okay with me. But I feel like the looting is just way too far because half the things that they're taking is people, black owned businesses or different type of places that has done nothing towards this situation. Like you're just taking from people at this point. Like you're using someone else's death as an advantage to get things that you actually want. Like you're stealing things that's not even a need. So at this point, I feel like the rioting is okay to try to get them to see that no justice, no peace is real. But the looting is only giving them another reason to bother us, especially black people. Like Scoop said, the black males out here looting and taking everything. It's only giving them a different way to look at us. When really we could just be marching like all the other people did, peacefully, and get the word out. I feel like we getting the word out. I just feel like we're just getting it out in the wrong way. I'm okay with the rioting, but the looting and all that is only giving them another reason to do what they do towards the people.
Mm-hmm. So me and Shay was talking about looting earlier. So Shay, can you go ahead and explain like your perspective on it? And go ahead and mute yourself, everybody whose turn it isn't to talk.
Me and Jabril been talking about it for since it happened. We talk every day. So my take on everything that's going on. I just take it personal because I only got one brother, and Lord knows if something were to happen to him, you can't tell me how to react. When somebody is mad, you can't tell them how to react. My problem with the situation and with black people, we don't come together. The point that I want to portray is that as black people, you got all these black people going on social media, and even you, Demetri, you just said that I feel like they're going about it the wrong way. My thing is, what's the way then? All the people that's saying that that isn't the right way, nobody has a solution. I don't feel like there's no other way to get your point across. Prime example. If your mama keep telling you to stop doing something, you're not going to stop. She tell you again, you're not going to stop. She going to whoop you. Then you're going to stop. Not saying that you got to whoop them per se, but you got to take action. I don't see a problem with the looting. Granted, you do have some people that are really taking it out of control, but Gucci can go rebuild tomorrow. Gucci don't support black people. We already had an incident with Gucci once before. So I don't care about that. Target, we already had an issue with them. My thing is all these companies that they are stealing from or looting, none of these companies have went out and said nothing about the issue. So Target can go back and rebuild tomorrow. I don't care about them looting. I don't care if they burn down the whole country, because I'm just taking it very, very personal. And this just keeps happening way too many times. So everybody that keeps saying that this ain't the way, nobody else has another way. So all of this rioting, my part of what part of this whole situation is okay? So are you saying that it's okay for them to go out and hold signs up? Or are you saying that it's not okay for them to burn down the police cars? My thing is that people are mad and you just can't tell people how to react. So I don't see a problem with the looting. Granted, some people are taking it out of control, but these businesses can go back and rebuild today. This man would never, ever, ever be alive again. So me personally, I just honestly don't care about the looting. One more thing, as black people, everybody's going on social media. You got black people talking about other black people saying, this is why they call us stupid. Y'all so dumb. Why y'all out here stealing? Why y'all out here doing it? You never, ever, ever talk about your people in front of these white folks. My mama may know some stuff about me. She not finna sit up and talk about me with nobody. So now you got white people that are joining in and reposting this stuff that celebrities saying, basically saying that, see, even T.I. said that y'all out here, y'all shouldn't be doing this. So I feel like, first off, we got to stop that. You can't talk about your people like that in front of these white people, because that's just giving them something else to say. They reposting all these celebrities that are saying that we look stupid, and white people like, see, even your own people think that. And I feel like if you are going to say something about that and you don't feel like that's the right way, then you talk to your people. You don't put that on social media where everybody can see that at. My mama went there post something on social media about me. She gonna tell me personally. So I feel like that's what just keeps just egging on the fact.
Okay, I'm gonna cut you off right there. Thank you so much. You know, we only got a limited time. One thing that I want to bring up is that a lot of the people that's doing this looting or starting this looting and being like the most, I guess, savage-like are white protesters. I have a friend that personally said it in one of my group chats that the black people was down there peacefully protesting, and the white people came up and started spray paint stuff and busting down glass windows. So that's another thing we need to like definitely highlight. Uncle Grant, you want to go ahead and say something?
Yeah, Demetria and Shay and Scoop. First of all, rioting and looting is not okay. All right, especially when you already know they're looking for a reason to castigate you or to make excuses why, you know, or justify the way that they treat black folks. So rioting and looting is not okay under any circumstances. And Shay, to your point, organization, all right, that's the issue, organization. You all know about the Montgomery Bus Boycott, right? That took place for a whole year. You know why it was successful? Organization, all right? So, on that. So basically, they boycott the Montgomery transit system for a whole year. And in preparation for that, they organized carpooling with people who had no criminal record and driver license. So when the police pulled them over, they couldn't arrest them because they was clean. Then they also organized people walk to work, people rode their bikes to work, but it was organized and it was effective because it crippled the bus system, and eventually they had to cave in to the demands of the black people. All right. Now, Black folks are the number one spending race in America. All right, so our money is our power. All right, so when they don't listen to us, if we're organized enough, we can boycott and don't buy from them. That's another way to get your voice heard. But I think the most important thing is for us is organization. We're not organized, okay? So after the protest, then what? What are we gonna do next? All right, because we can't just protest. All right, eventually they can just, okay, let them protest. All right, we hear them, hey, just let them protest. They'll be out of here and eventually they'll move on. So what's the next step? All right, so that's number one. Organization.
I have to cut you off, Uncle Grant, because I want to get everybody to talk, and we got some more questions to ask. Ma, you want to go ahead and respond, or Willie? Make sure you unmute yourself.
Sorry, old folks. Okay, well, me personally, I agree. Protesting is our constitutional right, and I think rioting and looting is counterproductive to the whole point. But sometimes things snowball and we can't, and it's hard to get it back under control. I would have liked to see all them celebrities come out and show support before all that happened. They could have organized something in Atlanta before it got to that point because they knew that they wanted to do something. Like rioting then just start all of a sudden. So I think they could have got a handle on it and in other places. But I think that, we're fed up. It hurts me as a father to know that we can't send our kids out. So riding
just you as a black man too.
Yeah, absolutely. But my stuff goes with my kids now, more so than me. Because I lay down my life for my kids now. So I understand the frustration, the anger. But again, like Grant said, like riding and looting ain't really the long-term answer. That's just a right now kind of thing. And them folks gonna get that money back. So they ain't worried about that. And as soon as all of it over with, black folks still gonna go buy from Gucci. They're gonna go buy from all of us. So why? Right. So I think you should protest. And like you said, organize. And from this point on, let them know that there's repercussions. And like I told my sons, we need to start voting at a local level to be able to change the people that's in office at the smallest levels, to be able to get some of the people like police chief that they know are racist out of there, and to be able to hold people like local police accountable. Because if that girl didn't film them, we wouldn't know nothing about that. They just like the thing in Atlanta when them guys shot him months ago. We wouldn't know nothing about it until the video surfaced. So once we get people in office locally that can hold policemen, police chiefs, and all these people responsible for systematic like oppression and racism, then all this is just for naught. It's just something that's happening this month.
We keep putting the onus on celebrities, but we got to understand every celebrity don't stay in the communities where this stuff is happening. So they're comfortable. They're okay with their way of life. So you can't depend on celebrities to come down and march because they're at a point in life where they're comfortable and they're not going to jeopardize that because they feel like they worked their whole lives to get there. Second point, in the civil rights movement, it was the college students, it was the kids, high school college students that led the charge. They did the brunt of the work. The SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coalition Commission, those are all kids. They did the demonstration and the marches, but they was organized when they did it. The sit-ins, the bus ride, freedom rides, all those was the kids. So you can't depend on these celebrities to do this work. It's you all, Booty. Y'all the ones gonna really make the change because y'all gonna do the leg work, just like it was in the civil rights. Granted, you need your elders for the leadership and the supervision, and to a certain extent the organization. But for effective change, it's going to be the young kids, the high school, college students, and the young adults. But that's it. That's all I wanted to add to that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, before I ask the next question, I'm gonna go ahead and put in my response. I'm very, very passionate about this stuff. So first, I think it's pretty sort of naive to believe that Black people, like this is the first thing that come to mind, rioting. People have been organizing consistently all year round. People organize, it's people fighting. I know personally, just living in Houston, it's people fighting. So to say that people just rioting and that they hadn't considered organizing is just, it's crazy. That's you discount so many women, so many Black women, so many Black men that I have met personally that's out there fighting and very organized and very peaceful. That I feel like that also goes with like the white agenda and the way they want you to think. That's all they bring up, the civil rights movement, Dr. Martin Luther King. They want you to be so peaceful and placid and just so well behaved so they don't ever have to deal with you. That's why it's in our minds. They ingrained it in us to be pushing that same idea. It comes to a point when, yes, violence is going to have to happen. I don't like people to be violent. I don't want nobody to get hurt. But when you think about the level of violence that white people have inflicted upon Black people, looting a Target is so small compared to the violence that they have put on us. The next point about celebrities, we do need celebrities. Yes, young people, yes, people like me count, but we need everybody in here. We need everybody. We need all the help that we can get. So celebrities, we do need to be calling on them. We do need to be pushed on them. Like you said, we spend a lot of money in this country, a lot of money going to them. They owe us that. They need to speak up. We need everybody in here. We need our voices heard as much as possible. So it's just a few things. The next question is, how do you feel, or how would you describe being a Black person in America? And I want to take this question to Sherry.
I feel like being Black in America, we just have to work a lot harder, like for everything. I feel like being a Black woman, we don't have a lot of options as far as our men. One quarter are locked up, the other quarter are homosexual, and then, you know, pretty much what we have left is pretty much already taken. I feel like specifically for our men, because the women don't go through as much oppression as the men. We go through, you know, bias and things like that, but it's mainly our men. I feel like that everything is set up to oppress them, even the family dynamic and how the family life works, jobs and things like that, because everything is geared towards helping Black women survive without the man. And it's not like that for other races. And I also feel like we have been like embedded with certain mindsets that other races and other cultures are not embedded with, that help us stay pretty much at the bottom of the barrel. So I personally, you know, haven't experienced a lot of struggle. Well, I feel like most Black women, when we compare ourselves to the Black men, we don't experience half the things that they experience. Like, nobody can compare themselves to them at all. And we're the closest thing to them. So
That's a lot of good points, Sherry. Again, everybody mute themselves. We're gonna go to Janiyah or Pi, whoever want to talk about being a Black person in America.
Mm-hmm. I personally have never encountered racism as anything like a day in my life, so I don't think I have met my struggle in my life yet to like know what it actually feels like to be Black in America. I don't think I have reached that point in my life to know what it actually feels like. I think I'm just like going through a regular normal life like any other person.
We have a racist neighbor.
We do. Yeah, that's the only thing. I agree with her. I haven't experienced nothing. That man he racist. I have never like been through it. Somebody actually calling me, "Oh, you a Black nigga?" I never experienced nothing, so my life is fine. To answer your question.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and talk on this as well, because this is something else that I always bring up all the time. A lot of people that I have asked this question about being Black in America or experiencing racist racism in general, I feel like we always look at it as very overt racism, whether or not you've been, discriminated against in any way. We always look for big things like being called in the N-word, just stuff that's very apparent. But that's not the only way that racism works. Racism work in your schools, in your grocery stores, in your neighborhood, which is why I was working on a film that I'm working on now. If you observe where you are and how did you get there and why things work the way that they work where you are, you will very clearly see that you have been oppressed throughout your entire life, whether it's small interactions in the classroom. Like, for example, with me, in my classes, I would usually be like the only Black person in there. Not to say that the whole classroom was white, it was a mixture, but usually I was the only Black person in my classrooms in my high school. And it's simple stuff like they won't think that you came up with the answer. They won't be, you can't be the teacher's pet. And, I just always wonder, why was I never the teacher's pet? It's like little stuff like that. When you go to the grocery store or you go to any store and people follow you around, or people just give you like these hints or these comments like you can't afford stuff. All of that is racism, all of it. And so I just encourage all of you to please take a deeper look at your lives and please analyze more than just, I never came into a racist incident, because it's feeding into this idea that racism is over, or that it was over with the Civil War, which is very hurtful to our country, because look what we get now. Now all this stuff is just suddenly coming up again, but people been had these ideas. They've been this angry. You think about the 60s and stuff, and before that with the Black Panther Party. All this stuff basically already happened. So why haven't we had more progress since then? It's because this racism is over after Martin Luther King. Like, these ideas fit into it, which prevent us from moving forward. I just admitted Kayla. Kayla's joining. Scoop, we can go ahead and have you answer this question. How does it feel to be Black in America?
I mean, it's hard, bro. It's hard because, for one, I'm a male, so it's always a target on my back. I feel like being a male or being Black in general, you're born with a target on your back because of your skin color. You feel me? No matter where we go, what we do, you feel me? It's just, I just feel like we're being discriminated because of our skin color. Makes sense, like, we're not given equal opportunity versus the white people. You feel me? We can work 10 times harder for something and work our butts off for something, and it'd be given to someone else because of their skin color. Mm-hmm. You feel me? And I feel like it shouldn't be that way because we done been through so much, and it's to the point where now, like, I gotta watch over. I don't like that I gotta watch my surroundings everywhere I go over my shoulder because, you feel me, white people or something like that. And plus, I got 2 little brothers, and I'm getting older. You feel me? And knowing that my mama and my mama ain't gonna be here forever, I gotta watch over my brothers. And you feel me? And I don't know what I'd do if I go crazy or something happen to my brother. You feel me? I just feel like it's not fair, and we're already not given the equal opportunity. Mm-hmm. Because, you feel me, you already got Black on Black crime because of, you feel me, oh, I don't mess with bro over here, you feel me, stuff like that, or this clique, don't mess with this clique. There's already, folks already going through that. Then on top of that, we're coming from poverty. So we got to get it out the mud, you feel me, just to build up and get to where we want to be in life, versus this white kid or white person right here that was born into this family, born into this certain amount of money, something like that, you feel me? And that's why I say, like, honestly, I feel like I can be in the white community, but I be feeling like I don't belong there because that's not my kind. Like, that's why I really chose to go to A&M, because I'm around Black people versus a PWI.
Okay, thank you. That's a real detailed answer. Kayla, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, you want to go ahead and answer that question? What does it feel like for you to be Black in America?
I feel like being born Black in America, you already get put down, already being like Black. Like, I feel like when you're born black, you don't get the same privileges as you would if you were born white. Like, when you're born white, you don't have to worry about, you being, snatched, or you having to deal with police brutality and stuff like that. I feel like when you're born black, there's just a disadvantage than when you're born white. It's like people automatically start looking at you different. Like, if you're walking down the street, somebody might change sidewalks because you're walking on the same street. Or I feel like, if you go into a store, people automatically give you the side glances because, the black person in the store, they think you might steal something, versus if like a white lady walked in the store, they wouldn't pay her no mind. And I just feel like being black, it's like you already have a target on your back. I feel like people think that they can do whatever they want to us because of the color of our skin, but when we retaliate back, it's a problem. Like, when we demand our respect and when we demand to be treated like human beings, it's automatically a problem. Versus, some white kid, wanting respect and wanting this and wanting that, but then claim to say that it's not privilege, because you can get what you want in life without having to work as hard as a black man will have to work to get what he wants in life. We have to work a lot harder to get paid less and get less benefits than a white man who will work less and get more than what we should have and, what we should deserve. Being black in America is like, pretty much being a slave in America.
Yep. Thank you, Kayla. That was excellent. Very proud to hear that. Okay, go ahead, Demetria, you can answer the same thing.
Okay, can you repeat the question again, Brie?
What does it mean to you, or what does it feel like to you in America?
To me, I feel like, first of all, black is beautiful. Being black, you do have to work a little bit harder, but it's like when you work harder for something, then once you actually accomplish it, it feels better. I think we get too far off into the stereotype that's going around, like feel like, well, white people don't have to work as hard, or they don't do this, or black people are target. It's harder for black men, yes. I'm not saying it's not hard for black women as well, but I feel as if people make everything racist. Like, it's most white people that may have to work as hard as we do. Wait, I can hear. Hard as we do as well. Wait, y'all got 1%. Y'all finna go off. But yeah, I think we get too far off into the stereotypes where they feel like you don't have to work. I mean, white people get it easier than we do. And sometimes it's not the case. Can't charge me.
Hey, Demetri, we're gonna go ahead and go to Shay. Shay, you wanna respond to that, or you can just answer the question on your own? Or Day, whoever wanna answer. Shay, go ahead and answer.
Okay, Jabril, you repeat the question again.
What does it feel like to you to be a black person in America?
I mean, to just piggyback off what everybody else said, we all black, so of course we have to work a little bit harder. I really appreciate what Kayla said. I mean, it's just the obvious. It's just, this ain't nothing that we think that maybe we have to work a little bit harder. It's proven. We got history about it, so we do have to work harder. Not saying that I don't mind working a little bit harder, but it's just sad that I should even have to do all this just because of the color of my skin. Meanwhile, a white person wouldn't have to go through the things that I'm going through. And it's the exact same thing. So, I mean, I'm just agreeing with everybody else that you do have to work harder, which I don't mind because I know I'm going to be somebody. I'm not worried about that. But it's just the fact of the matter that why should you even have to do all of this just to barely get on top?
Mm-hmm.
So that's it for real.
A quote like this from the Queen and Slim movie when they was in the parking lot, and the woman character, I guess Queen, she was like, black excellence, and Slim was like, why black people always got to be excellent? So they kind of go into what you were just saying, Shay. Why can't we just be people? And it just goes to show you how deeply rooted racism is in the foundation of our entire society, that we even think like that. Like, let's just work 2 times harder. Let's just work 5 times harder. when really we just people. There's no such thing as race when you really look at it. We just people. Yet we put in these circumstances where we have to deal with extraordinary things just to survive. And even if that helps us to survive in the first place. Patrick, you just got in. Can you answer the question, what does it mean to you to be a Black person in America?
Man, that's a good question. And I probably could talk on it for 3-4 days straight because I guess I see things from a little bit different viewpoint. I guess militarily speaking, when I joined, and I'm gonna make a full circle. I'm gonna get back to your question, but when I first joined the Air Force, I wanted to, it was in spirit of patriotism, serving my country, and reap some of the benefits that will come along with it. But it really didn't sink in to me how serious of a dilemma our country was in until one night I saw him drop a bomb on this village of people, and I mean, there was really no thought put into it. It was like no concern for their lives that were going to be lost. They were just after one person. And, the aftermath of it, you just see all those bodies just laying on the ground. I was like, man, if they don't care about those people of color, then they definitely don't care about me. So I was like, man, I'm serving a system that doesn't have my best interest at heart. But at the same time, I have an obligation to, I guess, protect and defend the people that I signed up to defend. So it's kind of like, for me being Black, it's like a never-ending question, because when I think about slavery and how, we were sold to the white man by our own people for monetary gain, but yet we have an obligation to defend each other. And then on top of that, having, being hated by, the non-Blacks. So it's like all day long, you sit there and wonder, it's like, where do I fit in this big puzzle? Mm-hmm. It's like you're in the Matrix all the time, because you want to, we're genuinely good people. And the things that happen in our community, about 99% of the time, is because of the fact that we don't have opportunities unless we have to fight so hard to get the opportunity, or we have to pretend to be something we're not, just so we're viewed as, well, he ain't as Black as those people right there. He ain't as hood as the people on the other side of the track. So it's like a never-ending cycle to me, being Black. It's like you just never feel like you're arriving at a certain point. And then, the truth is that, like, the only thing that really, you're already good enough. We're already, to me, when I think about equality, I'm already equal. It's just the other people hadn't realized it yet. So it's like, I'm not gonna walk around anymore feeling like I'm fighting to be equal, because it's like, I'm not fighting to be equal. They need to catch up with the reality that I already am. And so, I don't know, being Black is just like, to me, it's just a whirlwind of confusion, all because of the body that my spirit was put in. It's crazy.
Thank you, Patrick, for that great explanation, especially the part about like cycles. I want to touch on a point that you made about slavery, just to like clear it up. And I already kind of spoke about this a long time ago on Facebook. I don't know if anybody watched those videos. I was mad one day that Black people didn't know a lot of stuff about racism, and I still don't know. I'm still learning every day. But slavery always existed in the world. People always like to bring that up. Since like the start of time, since human beings was on this earth, slavery was always in existence. However, chattel slavery, the idea that people would not be people anymore and be treated like objects and goods and animals, was not created until the transatlantic slave trade. So when these African people were selling other African people to white people or Europeans, it was not the slavery that we think about when we think about slavery. It was not chattel slavery. It was not you a slave because you're black. It was not you will be a slave and your children will be a slave and their children will be a slave. It was not you not a human being no more. They traded people who were captives of war or people who were working off debt. It was a very simple type of slavery. Slavery could be considered simple. It was much less cruel than the slavery that we think about. So I feel like that's another technique that white people use to put down black people and to just say, oh, black people traded black people to the white people. Or that man who was like, I never bought a slave that wasn't for sale. They wasn't enslaving them or selling them into chattel slavery. They were simply selling them into the original sort of slavery that was way less cruel and much more humane. So the next question is, we can start with Uncle Grant. What do you feel needs to be done within our own family in order to be better, with all the political strife within our country? What do you think needs to be started within our own family to help better the situation?
You talking to me, Booty?
Mm-hmm.
What was your question? I was listening to the verses better.
What do you think needs to be done within our own family to help better this horrible political situation that our country's in?
Good question. I guess discussions like this really, because even though we are family, it sounds, just listening to all the answers from everyone, we still have our own walks of life. Our walks of life has been different, and our life has been shaped by different experiences that we've gone through and dealt with. So for me, I feel like as a family, one, we need to like just inform ourselves, educate not only ourselves but like you all, the younger generation as well. Because like even with me, I would love to hear stories from like Nietzsche and Uncle Ronnie and and all my aunties and uncles about their experience growing up, living during the civil rights, growing up during the civil rights. I know they got vital information, that I would love to have, before they pass, and just educate ourselves. Like I think Willie talked about voting at the local level, and that's really the true change, like policy. Like we can march and protest and demonstrate, but until the policy change, the practices that are going on, the systemic racism, the inequality in the justice system, the education system, until like we vote on a local level and get folks in to have our best interests at heart and see us as equal and as human, then that's when the real change is going to come. So as a family, like I feel like our family, we have a rich history, but I don't think that we share it enough with each other. So just expounding on who we are, what it means to be a Bennett, having pride to be a Bennett, like that's like really important to me. Like I'm proud to be a Bennett. That means a lot to me, and like even with my kids, like, hey, you're a Bennett. So yeah. I expect a lot from you, even what you are. Y'all Bennetts. Like there's a lot to be expected from you all. And just knowing who we are. Like, yes, we know that there are going to be challenges because we're Black and the system is set up against us. But we know that going into it. So let's not make excuses about the work that we have to do. Let's do the work, get the job done, and try to change it and make it work for us in the future. If not for us, for the generation that's come behind us, our kids, our grandkids, their kids. So, I think that's important as well. Like we got some brilliant minds in this family. Like, and is as crazy as it is to think about. Like, I really don't even know a lot about it. Like, I just found out that like Maya had her own business. Like, And she probably had her business for years, but I knew nothing about it.
Mhm.
So it's like stuff like that in the family. Like it's a lot of good, a lot of greatness in this family that we don't know about and that we don't share with each other. So I think that's a starting point. Just taking pride in the Benny name, and then using our voices and our intellect and everything that we have, like to just better one another and affect change all around us and in our communities. So I think that's something that we can do to affect change. But voting at the local level, getting these policy changes, just using our voice, our influences, whatever we can. Like no deed is too small. That's something that I learned growing up because, like for a long time, Mom used to always say, just keep on living and just wait till you go through something. So I used to think that, I wasn't like a Christian because I ain't never had no trials or tribulation. So I never had like no life altering experience like my mom and some other people in the family had went through. So I used to always like wonder, like, dang, I can't wait till I had this life change experience so I can be a Christian and get this favor from God that they keep talking about.
Mhm.
So, but just knowing who we are and what you are and what you come from, and what it means to be who you are, like that connection. I think that's a big problem. We don't have that connection, that connect, like who we are in this world, so that we're able to go out and reach our full potential and be great. Like I feel like sometimes there's a connection. Like, for example, all these other immigrants, they can go back to their country and they have that oil, that oil, place of origin that they can point to and go to. Like if you're a Jew, they go to the Holy Land. If you're Italian, you go back to Italy.
We don't have that.
Right. So that's like an important disconnection, I feel, with with blacks and people of color in general. But that's all a part of just knowing who you are, living who you are, understanding your greatness and your value, and then just reaching your full potential. So I know that was kind of long-winded or whatever, but I think that's a starting point. Or something that we need to do more of. They say, hey.
All right, go ahead, Ma and Willie, and then right after Sherry.
Yes.
For me, I think that family foundation is very important. It's very important, especially when you have generations behind you. Whether you have your own kid, or your aunt, or your uncle, you can't stop being that because you start your own family. You still got to continue to be that person that in the kids' lives, because we affect, and we can have this tremendous effect on their upbringing, their outcome. So foundation is very important when you're trying to help kids come along and figure out their own path. And like Grant said, it's very important that we know who we are. And the Bennett name used to be so powerful. Used to be so proud to be a Bennett. It's because we all was together. We did everything together. Now we so distant. Like we have our kids, and like for y'all up here in Texas, and they're here and they're there. So we're not as close as a group as we used to be. And I think that also, we need to start having back our family reunion so we can start the conversations again, so we can remember our past, and so it can affect our future in a long way, instead of us just everybody just trying to figure shit out on their own without the consulting of somebody else who already has been through that. So I think that we can be very powerful as a family if we want to, and like we used to back in the days. But now everybody's separated, like I said, to try to go about their own way to figure things out and make it better for their own individual family, instead of looking at the whole family in general.
Okay. Thank you, Mama.
Mm-hmm.
So Sherry, I don't know if you heard, but you go up next. Do you need me to repeat the question?
Say it again.
Do you need me to repeat the question?
It was what we need to do in our own family, right?
Yes.
I think the first thing and one of the most important things that we need to do is teach that there really is no equality. Like you know how you guys were saying that we're all humans and we all should just be people. Granted, that is definitely true. I think that we need to not want to always be a part of everybody else, because I feel like we're not all the same and we'll never all be the same. And that's why things are the way that they are. Granted, we should never be on the bottom, you know what I'm saying? I feel like we're oppressed because we are the superior. We are the majority. We've never been the minority. We've been fed that BS, but that's not the truth. You know, they suppress us and they oppress us because they know who we really are. And I think if we teach our children and our children teach their children that equality is a fallacy, that's not a real thing. You know, everybody's not equal, because if everybody was equal, then, you know, everybody be able to do the same stuff. We'd all pretty much look the same, be able to do the same things, and that's just not the truth. It's not. There is no equality, which is why white people do the things that they do to us. Because, in my opinion, they are the beta. We're the alpha. So I think that amongst ourselves, we need to stick with each other, like lift each other up. Instead of going buy eyelashes from the beauty supply, buy eyelashes from your homegirl that's trying to, sell stuff online. Buy something from the little boutique or your friend who got a few outfits, because you go buy something at the beauty supply and you putting money in the Asian's pocket who got a black beauty supply for black people and don't know shit about black hair. Like, we need to put the money through ourselves, spend the money amongst black people before we just continue to be the top consumers, because that helps keep us at the bottom as well. And I feel like teaching ourselves that will help us like increase pride of just amongst being a black person. Like Brent was saying, having pride that you're a Bennett, that's definitely a real thing. That makes you walk a different way and move a different way. And when you have pride in who you are and you know the truth about who you are and where you came from, that changes the perspective on everything. We take the money away from the white man, spending everything, buying everything from them, through them. Granted, most things we do have to get through them. I think we'll change a lot doing that, because we created the country for free off our ancestors' back, and now we the people that keep it running, because we the ones spending money. Our money is, rolling through their fingers and rotating from this place to that place for gas, for food, for living accommodations, clothing, toiletries, like necessities and, wants. So I think that's a very important thing that we need to teach all black people. Like, nah, ain't no equality. That ain't never been a thing in my eyes.
All right, thank you, Sherry. Grandma, do you want to respond? Where'd she go? Is she on here? Grandma, yeah. I don't think she hear me. Unmute yourself. Grandma, you muted.
Don't y'all laugh at my mama.
Jazz, unmute it for her.
Too late with her laughing.
I saw him, Jay. I'm gonna get him though.
Anyway.
Hey, y'all can hear.
Yes.
All right, here you go, Grandma. Yes.
Hey, Shana, can you mute yourself so it won't echo? Grandma, what do you think needs to be done within our family to make it better?
Pray to God. Ask God for forgiveness. First and foremost. I tell everybody that there's been so much things going on, and since I can remember, little girl, but I actually had a good childhood. But now that we are older, and your mother generation see things different than my generation did with my sisters and brothers. So I tell everybody to pray and ask God for forgiveness for all the things that may have been said, done, body movement, eye rolling, don't want to gather with each other. Everybody got their own circle, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, it's family. Family is more important. And if you read the Bible, God says that all the time, to love one another unconditionally as He has loved us. And we tend to forget that a whole lot. Me personally, the things I've been through, I learned to trust God no matter what I go through now more than anything in life, because I know now, more now at 56, than I think I will ever learn, even if God allowed me to stay here to get older than I am now. One of the things that were brought to me this morning is anger. We tend to get anger over the simplest stuff, and anger is the most greatest sins there is. So we have to ask God to forgive us for being angry. And he always say that one sin ain't no greater than 2 sins or 10 sins. But we don't want to look past that, including myself. I want y'all to do it with yourself and with God. Enjoy your life. Be safe, and I love you all.
Love you too, Grandma. Thank you for the words of wisdom.
Yeah, you're welcome.
The last question. Okay, so going back to police brutality and Black people in America, what do you feel is the solution? Is Demetri on here? Yeah. What do you feel is the solution to all of these deaths at the police hands, Black deaths? Don't forget to unmute yourself.
You said, what is the solution, Bria?
Yeah, what do you think is the solution?
I mean, for us, I feel like, okay, we've been protesting. I feel like there's no other solution besides prayer. It's like they have the upper hand at this point. Protesting, yeah, we're protesting. People been rioting, people been looting, but it's really nothing we can do about it. If it was something that we could do about it, it would have been fixed by now. They've been fighting for this for I don't know how long. It's happened how many times.
This became on the
It's like an ongoing thing. I feel as if it was something that we could do about it, it would be fixed already.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we're gonna go to Kayla.
Malcolm X, everybody tried, and it's still going on today. They've been fighting for this for years, and nothing has changed. I feel like the only thing that could fix it is prayer and time at this point, because we've done everything that we could possibly do as people, and nothing has changed.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Kayla.
I don't think there's much of a solution, or just I feel like it has to be a form of realization. Like at this point, you've had the peaceful protest, and then when you meet somebody's peace with, violence, and they get so tired to the point where, people get sick of having to walk outside and feel like they got to, protect themselves, or they can't leave their homes, or they don't feel safe in their homes, stuff like that, They always, preach, or they tell you in schools that, police are supposed to protect you. When you need help, you go to the police and things like that. But, if you call the police and, they treat you like you the criminal, instead of treating you, how you feel like you should be treated, as in somebody, who's been hurt or something like that. When they treat you like you got a criminal record, or, like you're some thug, or you're some gangster, instead of treating you like a human being, you feel like, well, if I can't call the police, then who can I go to? I feel like I got to protect myself and, take necessary needs to protect myself and these things like that. And I just feel like, people are just tired. You're tired of getting treated a certain way. You tired of losing family members and, losing loved ones and things like that at the hands of people who don't show any remorse for, your lost ones, or at the hands of these people who, say that what they're doing is justified, though you can see the morally wrong things that are happening. And yet nobody chooses to speak out. Nobody chooses to take matters in their own hands. So, when all this protest and rioting is done, at the end of the day, I feel like you have to realize that people aren't going to continue to let you treat them like this. People aren't just going to continue to let them take their lives and take the lives of their loved ones. People are tired. And when you get tired, you start to get violent. You start to lose all your rationality. When you just get so tired to the point of, I'm sick of this, I'm sick of, this happening. I'm sick of this happening, I'm sick of feeling like, it's only me and my family and my people at this point, that can protect ourselves. You just start fighting back, and at this point, it's either you realize that people are people and change needs to happen, or you continue to thrive within this chaos. Because at this point, people are just, they're sick of it, And I understand what people are saying, it's not exactly right to be, stealing and looting and rioting and burning down homes. But I mean, I understand why it's happening. I'm not going to say that I support it, but I understand why it's happening. I understand why people are fighting. I understand why people are, mourning and things like that. Everybody grieves a different way. But at the end of the day, when you're grieving and you can't get any resolve for it, you start to get angry about it.
Man, Kayla, I hope, yeah. That's all I got to say. Janai and Pi, y'all go ahead.
question, bro?
What do you feel is the solution to police brutality and black deaths?
Solution. I feel like it all starts with the training of the police officers. Because it takes them, 6 months, 6 weeks to become a police officer. It's really nothing. You don't have to go to college for it or anything. And I feel like it should be a longer process to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
On that, with the black, I don't know what to say about the black deaths because it's just out of hand at this point. Killing 3-year-olds up to the age of 60s. It's just like, it's out of hand. There's like really no remorse and no like penalty for it. I feel like if a police officer kills a black person or any person like on like purpose, I feel like there should be a death penalty. You go to jail for death penalty if you kill a cop, so why can that not be the same?
Especially when it's their actual job to be in those situations. Let's do Deidre.
Sure do.
Deidre, can you hear me? Unmute yourself.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, Deidre.
You hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, all I can say, man, because I'm a mother with black sons in America today and how rough it is, I always tell my boys, your reaction to the action will cost you more than you to just pay attention to what's going on. With all that's going on, these kids dying, people dying at the hands of police is ridiculous, period. It's been going on for ages, but because we have such a woke society, we can curb this some kind of way. It's a way to fix this. It's not totally out of control. But what it is, we as a people, we got to come together for more than just that moment. We quick to come together for that moment, and then it's over. And it's on to something else. We got to come together and actually stick it out and actually get involved and actually do positive things. Like everybody go for the moment, and then the moment is gone and it's on to the next. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So once I think, like I tell my boys, don't stop giving it, because what happens is you go on to the next thing. Stop it. It could be you. It could be your cousin. It could be your uncle. Care, keep caring, keep this mentality. This could be me. Let me know how to react or not to react. To these guys, there's a lot of officers that get in it for the wrong reason, and it's just the kid. Without principle, without merit, they just want to kill. And I told them, I said, just be mindful of the situations you're in, and when the police is called, make sure, don't be the guy holding the camera, just holding the camera. Be more than just a recorder. Let's help out. Let's get involved. Yeah, sometimes it get out of control, but you can't just sit there and hold a camera. Yep. I mean, crazy. You just gotta. We gotta pray. Because in every direction, we killing. If it ain't one thing, it's enough. But if the only way we're gonna survive and bring ourselves out of this is prayer. That's all we got. You can stay in the house all day, but if you ain't praying, what's your point?
Yep. Thank you.
So yeah,
all
that's
right.
all I got.
We only got about 10 minutes left, so I'm gonna let Scoop answer the last time. Go ahead. What do you think is the solution to police results in black deaths?
Can you repeat yourself?
What do you think is the solution to police brutality that results in black deaths?
I mean, as of right now, honestly, what can you say is the solution? I mean, as black people, you tried protesting. We done tried protesting, you feel me? And now that more black people are finally starting to waking up to it, it's becoming more of an issue. It's been an issue, but I feel like now there's really nothing you can't really do or say is a solution. You feel me? I mean, growing up, growing up, I wasn't that much into church, but now as I'm getting older, I'm starting to learn how to get closer to God. You feel me? But I mean, you can't really say there's a solution because this is something that's been going on for ages, for centuries. Um, I can say all you can do is really pray, ask God to watch over you, protect you, your loved ones. Make sure you make it from destination A to B. Make sure you feel me. You live your life because you only live once. You don't get a second chance at it. It's not like you can respawn if something happens, something like that. But you really can't say there's a solution because there's been a problem. And yeah, you can say violence could be a solution, but what they're really gonna solve? Because they're just gonna fuel the fire even more because someone else's loved one is dead. So now what? That causes more anger, more pain. Yeah, you can come here to side. Come on. But you really can't say there's no solution because this always been a struggle, and it's gonna continue to be a struggle. And I feel like it's still gonna be a struggle until our society as a whole, being the Black community, realize that we outnumber white people.
Like Sherry said.
Like we outnumber white people, and there's a lot of brilliant minds. I was literally just sitting here smiling because of Kayla. Kayla really shocked me today. Like she really shocked me today.
Yes. Kayla really gonna save us.
Like she really shocked me today, and I do hold that pride as being a Bennett. I tell people all the time, they be like, "Who you supposed to be?" I'm like, "I'm Jamori Bennett. Like I'm a Bennett. Like my name Bennett. I ain't in it. I'm a Bennett."
He's still in it. He's still in it. He's still in it.
Just
say. These our folks, but I love every last one of y'all though. Like
me too, Scoop.
Growing up, we should family should be involved more. We should be involved in more family festivities for not our generation, but the kids up under us to get to know their cousins and spend time with each other, family being together. It shouldn't take for a loved one to not have family passing away for us to come together or to sit down and have quality family time. We should do that because at the end of the day, life is too short for us to sit here, to argue, to be mad and fuss at one another for something so simple and silly. Versus that can be the last conversation you have with somebody, y'all arguing the last memory. That will hurt. So I feel like we should come together as a family and spend more time with each other because life is too short and we're getting older and older by the day.
Well, thank you, Scoop. Okay, I'm going to close it out. First off, thank you everybody for even participating in this. I will try to post this and editing. I never did this before, so just give me a little time. Somewhere on YouTube, I also have another film thing coming out soon, probably about next week or either the week after. But just to close up what I think is a solution, and I think there are multiple solutions, but the first one is to really educate yourself. I try every day to learn something new, something more about Black history because it's been so erased within our country. Open your eyes, please. It's literally the trap. We are in a trap. The way we think, what we eat, what we do, what we consider vacation spots even. All of this stuff is, programmed in one way or another or set up for us in one way or another. Please educate yourself so that you can create your own mindset and your own lookout on life. That's number one. Number two, spread that education into the people around you, to your children, to your little cousins, to your little brothers, to your grandma, to your auntie. Tell everybody what you find out, because what's the point of knowing something if you're the only one that know it? Please spread the information. We do need to keep doing stuff like this. As I said in my auntie funeral, we have to support one another. You have to. If Scoop is doing something, trying to get a scholarship, I will support him in any way I can. That's just me. But it can't be 2 people in the family or 3 people in the family that's trying to lift other people up. There's not enough arms. So everybody needs to join in. Everybody needs to educate themselves, educate the people around them. Just keep having these conversations, support one another, and please do stuff within your community. You do have a power. You do have a voice. I think somebody brought up money. I think that was Uncle Grant. We have that power within our communities. Go out and protest at these places. Go out and volunteer for your city council members, the government officials. Find out who your judges are. Those are little things that you can do. If you feel like your neighborhood is dirty, come up with a committee to go clean it up. Plant trees. Do something. You can do something if it's as simple as volunteering at a soup kitchen. So that's all I got to say. And I'm going to close out, and maybe we'll do something like this again. So thank you, everybody, and I love y'all.
Love y'all too.
Bye. Love y'all.
I love you too.
Thank you.
Baba.
Pink Baba.